Talk 360. Talk 360. For in-depth analysis on the week's news with Latif.
Afternoon, and how are you doing? My name is Eric Latif. You're just in time for Talk 360 right here on 98.4 Capital FM. Coming up to, it's actually a 4:15. Today, if you are anywhere within Kenyan borders and you're watching television, you probably have been seeing what's happening in the run-up to December 4th. That's going to be Tuesday. In Nakuru, we have William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta who are about to unveil their new alliance. I don't know whether it's going to have a name. We'll see. And then in Mombasa, Prime Minister Raila Odinga is having a rally in Tononoka ground in which Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka had been expected to attend, but clearly he's not attending that. Well, we're here to talk about alliances today because that's what's happening this weekend, and that's what's going to be happening until Tuesday. A couple of alliances coming up. Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto are unveiling theirs today. Rumors are that Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka are going to be forming an alliance. Musalia Mudavadi could also be joining that alliance. Peter, Kenneth and Raphael Tuju had some lunch this week. And they got out and said they're focused on the March 4th general election. Where is Martha Karua? Where is Ole Kiapi? Well, let's discuss that this afternoon with our guest in the studio, managing editor of the Sunday Standard, Mwenda Njoka. He joins us, and the public affairs consultant Kirero Wangoge also joins us. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming this afternoon and for spending your Sunday afternoon with us.
Thank you.
Let's start with Kirero. You've seen what's happening in. We have one solid alliance already that's been announced that's clear. Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto are going to be together on a presidential ticket.
Oh, thank you, Latif. We need to acknowledge first that the general elections in Kenya are always an ethnic census. Ethnicity trumps any other thing. That's the starting point. You understand that? And then having acknowledged, you may not like it, but that's what's going to happen. That's what has happened over the last 50 years. Now, right or wrong, if that be the case, then the ethnic blocs are the ones that are being formed.
Are negotiating.
Yes, you get to State House by getting the appropriate ethnic arithmetic in your bloc. So I'd like our listeners to understand some of the building blocks. The figures are always controversial, but and I would like Eric to comment. But roughly speaking, the Kikuyu at about 22. If you put the Merus and Embus, there is probably just below 28%. That you can bring together very easy, and is a powerful starting point. The next largest is in fact the Luhya at 14%. Kalenjin at 12%, Lu 10%, Kamba 8%, Kisi 6%, everybody else below 3%, but together 22%. Now do the arithmetic. Whatever is happening at Tononoka and Afra is an attempt to clubber up a combination of those figures into a winning formula.
So it's clear that in Afra Stadium, what's happening is we have the 22%, like you said,
right,
and we have the 11% of Rift Valley,
correct,
which may not be an entire 11%.
So, of course, it isn't.
Right, and we may not have the entire 22%, but this clearly shows that these two leaders are actually bringing their tribesmen and women into this alliance.
Yeah.
Is that exactly what's happening there, Mwenda?
That is so much so. But again, also, when you look at, let's say, the relationship between Uhuru and Ruto, what brings them together? The fact that they are facing cases at ICC, that's solidifying. They are brought together by fate, as has been said before. And then besides that, in terms of numbers, they start with a significant lead, or we would call it lead time in terms of politics, that the numbers as Kirero is talking about.
Yeah.
So from that point, it's now whether they win or not, it depends on now how many other communities they're able to bring together. If they can be able to rope in, let's say, for instance, some groups like Luyas who are also very significant, although normally traditionally, Luyas have never voted as a bloc. But if they're able to bring in somebody like Eugene Wamalwa, who comes from a community that has always been seen to go, it doesn't go with established position in terms of politics.
Yeah.
That's you're talking about That's a significant number of Luyas.
And it's actually the largest group.
The largest
Luya.
group, actually, the largest one group.
It's the second
Yeah.
largest in the country.
Yeah,
The Luya.
yeah. So I talk about the Bukusus are very significant. So if they bring in that, it can be actually a game changer.
But then here we see Eugene Omalwa has bolted.
Yes,
or has it
bolted.
been edged out?
Where
Or is it elbowed out?
You see,
why is it?
the-
Let me just say, no, what's happening? Everybody is trying to position themselves that they can be able to get as large piece of the cake as possible. Okay, possibly from what we gather is that from the starting point, Eugene wanted, within the Uhuru arrangement,
Yeah.
he wanted a half of that, half of the cake. Of course, he doesn't have the numbers, he doesn't have the capacity, he doesn't have the resources, political resources to warrant that. But of course, by bolting out, that is not necessarily that he's out of that arrangement. We still have 2 days to go. And 2 days is a very long time in politics.
He's basically, now he bolted, listen,
Yeah.
Eugene Omalwa bolted. And the next thing we're hearing is that Eugene Omalwa is having a sit down with Kanu, with the outfit led by Nicholas Biwott, and with the outfit where William Ruto just walked in and walked out, led by Major General Koech.
I don't want you to confuse.
Where is that? Okay, look at that outfit. If you look at it from, how much sway does somebody like Biwott hold in present-day Kenya?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he hold any?
That's what I'm asking. That's a question. How much sway?
I think we have forgotten one thing that we started with.
Mhm.
The actual registered political party is a marketing brand to market the ethnic mobilization tool. So if you have 2 or 3 that are within the Kalenjin nation, for example, you could discount them if you got a critical mass of the Kalenjin under URP.
Yeah.
The problem with the Wamalwa's position was what Eric said, that Luyas traditionally do not come together and vote as a bloc. So there is always fragmentation. And 2, even within his fraction, he cannot guarantee that you bring the numbers. So inevitably in real politics, he's going to be asked, you can't ask for 50%, you'll be lucky if you get 2 posts. Because it is perceived to be, the more you bring, the more powerful
The more powerful you are.
Let me say something about why we are where we are. Because Kenyans are about to bring in, as president, there is a possibility, president and deputy, people who are under ICC charges. Now, this is an unfortunate outcome. But it has come to this because there was a perception, perhaps it's true. A long time ago, last year, I think it was, Eric, you asked me about the ICC process, and I said, however good it looks, the ICC process is not, strictly speaking, a just legal process. It is a political process intended to manipulate, by former colonial masters, regime changes in Africa. If you come from that position, then what has happened is that whoever calculated that they will take out Ruto and Uhuru to pave the way for their favorite candidate, the thing has backfired badly.
Probably not.
The perfect, it has backfired because everybody, justice is something everybody understands. It's not something that just lawyers understand. The ordinary person, even by technical definition of justice, is what an ordinary person understands to be just. Now, after the 2007-2008 post-election violence, the 2 names that should have been on top of that list would be Mwai Kibaki and Raila Odinga. They were the principal protagonists. If you try any other monkey business, it will backfire, and it has.
Let me add something there, Eric, before. Remember, Musalia Mudavadi said that there's a time he said that ICC process, the people who should be on trial, actually, is the whole country, is a country that should be on trial on this.
Yep.
And as Kero is saying, again, William Ruto was not on the ballot paper.
Uhuru Kenyatta
was not. It's a Mwai Kibaki, Raila Odinga. The reason why the country went to war or the fights and all that was because of these 2 protagonists. And the fact that, the truth be told, President Kibaki or as he was the outgoing president at that point in time, didn't manage the election process as he should have, and that is where the blame lies.
Let me say something about. You remember the first thing we did was we kicked out Kivuitu and his team. That was a scapegoat. Elections as a symptom brought in the post-election violence, but there is a fundamental reason why we went to.
It had been
war.
said. It
And it is nothing, and it has nothing to do with elections. The elections just gave us the
tribal
opportunity. In my understanding, my thesis is that Moi was unable to remove the Kikuyu after 24 years in power in accordance with the Nandi Declaration by the late Seroneh. This thing runs deep. There was a perception that one day we must be able to get rid of the Kikuyu who are in the Rift Valley. Ruto ousted the Moi from the pinnacle of Karenjin politics because he promised that if you go with me and we go ODM, the Kikuyus shall leave the Rift Valley. And that was what happened.
Now, these are very strong statements that you're making, and I need to remind you that you're on public radio, and I cannot allow you just to go on saying stuff like that.
I have been on the ground in the Rift Valley.
Yes, you've been on the ground.
Yes.
Let me move on. I'm in the studio with Kirero Angoge. He's a public affairs consultant. And I'm also joined by Mwenda Njoka. He's the managing editor of the Sunday Standard. And today we are talking about the alliances that are being formed as we run up to Tuesday. And I've also posted this today's topic on our Capital FM Facebook page, Capital FM Kenya, and also on my Facebook page, Eric Latif. Very many comments already coming in as we talk about what's happening in Nakuru and what's happening in Tononoka grounds today. Well, did we expect Kalonzo Musyoka, Mwenda Njoka, to go to Tononoka today?
Yeah, it was expected because the indications were that, judging from the kind of sentiments that Mutula Kilonzo and Principal Mutula Kilonzo was pushing for him to move towards ODM.
Mm-hmm.
So it was expected, but the moment he came in, he indicated, he said that he is not, anybody who is talking about him being a running mate to somebody is daydreaming. Because he himself is looking for a running mate. So
now, is this realistic? Let's actually just call a spade a spade. Is this realistic? I mean, Kalonzo Musyoka on one hand, and we had this discussion on TV the other day, Mwenda. On one hand, Kalonzo Musyoka has his lieutenants, who include the Minister for Education, Mutula Kilonzo, and the MP for Kangundo, who have been going on to all these ODM rallies and have sending these strong signals that we are negotiating for Kalonzo to come and join. Then we also see the other guys.
Musila is also on that side.
Yeah. Then we see the Kilonzos going to Musalia Mudavadi and indicating strongly. In fact, they walk out together, the VP and Musalia Mudavadi, out of a hotel, and they're talking, they're shaking hands, sending signals that they're going to form an alliance.
There's something similar between Kalonzo Musyoka and Musalia Mudavadi, in my view.
What is this?
You remember Musalia Mudavadi was left in Kanu in 2002 as vice president for a few days.
Yeah.
And then in 2007, Kalonzo Musyoka deliberately, and I think by strategy that may have been developed by some of the people you are mentioning, the strategy was to be vice president to either of the two protagonists. If it goes PNU, we become vice president of PNU. If it goes ODM, we become vice president of ODM. That was the Kalonzo strategy. Unfortunately, that has hurt him as an individual and the perception of whether he can make a firm decision and lead the country. He became vice president on a very precarious basis.
Yeah.
That he can do either way. It was therefore about him. Therefore, as we go forward, his hope for becoming president, when you have that kind of character fought, Jesus Christ, is impossible.
And then, okay.